Welcome back to Travel by Turtles. With it being the end of December and 2023 right around the corner, I want to provide you advice around traveling in the new year. Specifically, if you're traveling with family or friends. These types of trips often consist of planning and coordinating with several people. Traveling with a large group of people can be difficult, but there are many ways to make it less stressful and more fun. And in this video, we're going to go through exactly what steps you need to take to make it successful. So before you even set foot on a plane or book your hotel room, you should find out if everyone is on the same page. If not, then you should talk to them about what they want out of the trip and how much they're willing to pay for it. A big thing here is budget. So going through your budget can save tons of time down the road and even change the overall head count for the group. So if you're not conscious about the budget and you don't bring it up early, you might have to start from scratch after doing all of your work. The budget will also help you build out the entire plan, ultimately allowing you to make the actual plan without having to go back and forth, asking people plenty of questions. If you have a large budget, consider an all-inclusive or maybe even renting out a huge beachfront villa for the entire group. This will also make planning easy and you won't have to worry about much because your budget's huge. So this video is mostly for people who might be trying to work more efficiently with the money that they have, or maybe they're working on a tighter budget. So if you're in that boat, you could save on things like hotels and food to make more room for experiences. Ultimately, it's best to decide on the budget up front so you can plan everything out and keep everyone in your group aligned. Once everyone has agreed on a budget, time frame, and general itinerary, you can finally start planning all the other stuff. So after budget, as I mentioned, we're going to go through the itinerary. A good way is to start making a list of all of your destinations and then create an itinerary for each day that you're going to be on your vacation. This will allow for everyone to know in advance what they need to pack without you getting bugged by each person individually. We all know how annoying it gets when you've got a large group of people and everyone's asking you the same question over and over again. By making your itinerary, you can kind of skip past that part as a whole. So this will also allow people to plan their own individual adventures or goals. If you have that itinerary, maybe you're going to a cool destination and you and someone else are the only two people who want to do a certain thing. By setting up a few free days, you can make room for those types of things, but it's important to have that built into the schedule. Another example is if you have a beach day, one person might want to snorkel while another person might want to go and lounge out on the beach, or maybe somebody else wants to go to the bar. Either way, each person in this example will need to pack accordingly, and with the itinerary made, this will become much easier. It's also helpful if you have a day when you want to maybe spend some more money. So in this case, each person is willing to spend only so much. So this is separate from the overall budget. This is like extra spending money, right? So each person is going to bring a different amount of money to spend while they're on the trip. So in this example, if you are going to a cool destination that might have a lot of local shops and cool things to purchase, people can prepare by bringing extra spending cash if they know that there's going to be a shopping day, or maybe that they're going to be in an area where you could buy a lot of cool things and souvenirs. So if you're going to be exploring around, shopping, going to the beach, even other excursions, you're going to need a means to travel from place to place. Which brings us to the next topic, which is transportation. You should also consider the different types of transportation that you can use for your trip once you arrive to the destination. Are you going to navigate on foot throughout the city and kind of pedal around that way. If you're in the city, you can also think of like Ubers and even bird bikes and all these other ideas, right? There's so many scooters and stuff, or city bikes that can get you around. But if your group is really big, it might be difficult to find those types of transportations all at one time. If you're in a smaller group but larger than one that can take kind of those little bikes around, think about individual cars, right? So maybe you have a group of two. If you rent 2 cars, that might make the most sense. If it's a bigger group, maybe even getting a van or a bus. So it's just smart to kind of decide based on your group the best way to get around, but also, again, considering the budget. So for example, if you have a lot of people in your group, it might be easier to rent an RV or a van rather than taking multiple cars or buses if you have like less people. If you decide to explore locally, make sure you're also packing a book bag or any other type of luggage that you can store snacks, drinks, and have a place to even put like things that you bought at local shops. Another thing to keep in mind is if you're going to a not like a third world country as a destination, that you're packing clean drinking water, because a lot of locations don't have water that people from the US, for example, that can drink. So just be conscious of all the other things that you need, maybe even medicine that you would keep on yourself. A book bag is a great way to kind of get around while keeping those things on you. Another big thing is the food that you're going to eat. When you're traveling with a large group, it can be hard to find things to do and places to eat. But by making a list of restaurants and attractions in each city, you can keep track of your schedule. And this will help you know what's going to happen, where it's happening, and when it's time to kind of move to the next destination. So as a part of your itinerary, just make sure you're planning out meals as well. Another thing to keep in mind with food, again, this applies to every single section, is your budget. Eating out can add up pretty fast. So if your group is looking for cost-effective ways to travel, consider each person cooking for a night maybe, or other like ways. Maybe if you're doing carry out, find a cheaper place where everybody can kind of eat and save a little of extra money. The cost can be reduced significantly when you're cooking at home, so that's often the best option with a big group. But and it can also be really fun too, right? So like if you get an Airbnb or anything, or even a smaller villa or something, it's always fun to bring out the grill and just cook some things up and have a few beers. Maybe you have a pool. It can become very fun. I guess that being said, though, if you're not interested in that, be sure to speak up, and that's kind of the next point here. Make sure that you maintain a level of openness with your group. If someone is feeling overwhelmed or anxious about the trip, that person should speak up and say something. If everyone is open about their feelings, there won't be any surprises when it comes time to make a decision. It's important to be aligned with your group, as I said earlier, because this ultimately helps you avoid all drama. Being open can also avoid any hiccups in the trip. So if somebody just doesn't want to go swimming, add something else in your itinerary for a second group to go on and do. This makes sure that everyone's having a lot of fun, and it helps create a memorable environment for everybody that's involved. So the main things that we covered here are, if you're traveling with a large group of people, you want to make sure that you're making it the least stressful and the most fun. And the ways that you can do that are by making sure that you have a solid budget planned for everybody. And again, being open about that budget, making sure that they know that, hey, we might spend some more money here or another place if you want to go shopping. Make sure you're factoring that into your own personal budget, but don't include that in the actual travel budget. The next thing was itinerary, making sure that everything's planned out so people know what to wear, when to wear it, how much to pack, and the different things that they are going to be doing in the event that they want to kind of go on their own adventures. The third thing we talked about was transportation, making sure that everybody has a way to get around and that it's efficient. In some cases, it might make sense to just use things like Uber or walk on foot. In other cases, it might make sense to rent a bus or an RV, or even a driver to take you from place to place if you're going to a very crowded city or in a place that's more difficult to drive. And then again, everyone has to eat, so make sure that you've planned out your food and have planned the expenses that go around food, as this is often one of the most expensive line items when traveling. And finally, most important of all when traveling with a big group is to be open. If you've got something on your mind, make sure you get it out there so that no one's feelings are getting hurt and everyone is kind of aligned. Again, nothing ruins a trip more than bad drama, so make sure you are all putting everything on the table and that you are asking everyone to do that as well. Hope that helped to at least get you thinking of some ways to navigate your large group trip a little bit more smoothly. And thanks for watching. Again, this is Travel by Turtles. Please comment, like, and subscribe for more tips, tricks, and stories. Again, with it being December right now, I know a lot of travel will be happening in the new 2023 year, so follow for more information.